What are the top 3 reasons for an E-2 denial and how to avoid those? Hey everybody, this is Charles Rather from AmLaw Group, and today I wanted to talk about top 3 reasons for an E-2 denial and how to avoid them. Now, as background, understand that there are very, very few denials we get for E-2. Depending on your nationality, I don't think we've ever had a denial for a Canadian. I don't think we've ever had a denial for a British client. But even if you're from other countries, the number of denials are extremely low. But nonetheless, they happen. And so here are the top 3 reasons I wanted to go over. Reason number 3, you weren't able to prove that your business is non-marginal. So what does it mean to be non-marginal? Basically what that means is you've got to show that the company is making enough money to generate not only positive revenue to cover costs, but that you're generating some profit that can be set aside or used for further development of the business. So if, according to your business plan, you're not going to make any money in the first 5 years, yeah, they would probably say it's a non-marginal business. Of course, nobody's going to write a business plan like that, and you're generally going to show profitability in those first 5 years. When you go to renew your visa, that could be a problem if, again, you have no profits or very little profits or it's negative. But a lot really depends on other factors too. So the government is usually kind of flexible as long as you can give a good explanation. Gee, this is why we didn't have much profit the last couple of years, but this is why we think that will change soon. That's reason number 3. Reason number 2, probably inability to show that how your funds are going to be spent and that you've committed the necessary amount of funds. As we always tell people, you probably have to plan on investing at least $100,000 into your business. But that doesn't just mean you transfer $100,000 to the business account. You really have to spend probably 60-70% of that money first prior to applying, just so they're believing that you actually are going to build this business and you've already committed or spent that money. This is usually an issue that's easily solved just because we tell our clients, look, you got to invest this amount of money and you got to spend this amount before we file. Otherwise, there's going to be problems. And the number 1 reason for denials of E-2s, and you might find this hard to believe, really doesn't have much to do with the business, your investments, how much you're going to invest, has to do with immigrant intent. Far and away, the most common reason for an E-2 denial is the officer suspects you have immigrant intent. Now, this only comes up at the consulate. It's not an issue that they look at or consider when you're adjusting status or changing status here in the U.S. But if you're at the embassy, yes, far and away the most common cause for denial is they say they suspect you have immigrant intent. And the biggest problem is it is very tough to prove otherwise. It's such a subjective conclusion of the officer. It's very difficult for us to get traction and to show the officer he or she was wrong when they made the assumption that you had immigrant intent. And a lot of times the officers just use that category just to, as a general fallout, back default category. They just say immigrant intent when maybe the client really doesn't, but they're maybe hiding some of the real reasons. But again, that is definitely the number 1 reason for a denial. So when you're working on your case and working with your attorney, make sure, at least in particular, you focus on these 3 issues we talked today. And if you need assistance with your particular situation and your E-2 case, or any other case for that matter, feel free to reach out to us and we'd be more than happy to assist you.